Welcome back, everybody, to the Jet Trip WaspCast, episode 4. In this weekly podcast, we'll break down last week's matchup that the Chiefs had, obviously, and look forward to this week's coming matchup, which will be against the Bucs. We'll be doing weekly predictions, covering everything Chiefs, and I am Cameron, joined by Kane and Noah.
What's up?
Hello.
Yeah, so let's get right into it.
All right. First thing first, I want to really quickly talk about the Tua situation because it's something that needs to be addressed. Um, for those who may not know, last week Tua appeared to suffer a concussion, but basically the Dolphins medical staff claimed that it was just a back injury, and that's what caused the stumble. So they let him play the second half and let him play this week's game on only 5 days of rest. And then yesterday night, he had a big head injury. His finger stiffened up, which is a big sign of bad brain trauma. And it's just a horrible look for the Dolphins. I mean,
It
pretty
is,
much
yeah.
everybody in America knows he suffered a concussion last week. It's not like they
I
did much.
really don't, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I think it's stupid. He should not have played, but I will say, I kind of, he went to the hospital. I don't think the doctors are gonna lie. Like, they said he was fine, and he traveled
I
back with the
know
team. That he
today
went to the,
or the other day he did, but last week I think it was just like the, the investigation is that they did not go through proper concussion
yeah, but the
protocol.
concussion would still be there is the thing, um,
Well, he has a
if he had
concussion.
one
It's
from last.
confirmed that they
Well,
had a concussion.
I get
They
that,
just let
but
him go.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, they said they didn't think it was very severe or anything. I mean, Mike McDaniel just said it was a concussion and nothing else. So,
Which is lucky. But
yeah,
I also find it very stupid that they had him fly home on the plane because change in altitude and change in, you know, weight and stuff like that, like mass, can really mess up your head, especially after a concussion. I just don't think it was safe. No, you got anything to add to that?
Hmm, not really. I mean,
Pull your mic
it,
closer to
it,
you.
it's not, it's not, uh, McDaniel's fault. No, it might be.
It
I
might
don't
be.
know.
Oh, you have no clue.
Well, I'm not gonna say anything till, the NFLPA finds out what happened.
I'm
hmm
really hopeful that we're just bad doctors and that he really did have a back injury and didn't have a concussion. But if it comes out that they did not go through proper concussion protocol and that he really did have a concussion, it is going to be a horrible, horrible look for not only the NFL, the Dolphins. I mean, there's going to be people fired, suspended. I mean, that could have ended Tua Tagovailoa's career and maybe the season. And he had a great
Correction.
start to the season.
Correction. That could have ended Alon's life.
It could have, yeah. It's if like big changes need to be made if this comes out that it was a
let's
concussion
also
and
just
they still let.
let's also partially blame on the turf. It should be all grass fields in the NFL. Get rid of turf.
What
I don't think
field
that
was
has
it?
to do
The,
anything with a
it does.
concussion
The
though,
turf.
does
The
it?
turf
Well,
is way harder than the grass,
what field
and
is it though?
it was
Last week it was at Miami, which is that a turf field?
yeah.
Okay, and then
And
it
Is
was
when
it?
you bang
against
your head
the
on
Bengals,
turf, it
which I
feels like
don't think is
concrete.
turf. Oh well.
It really is. But I'm fairly certain I thought Miami and Cincy went last.
I know for sure since he's grass, but Miami might be turf. I'm not sure. But anyway, let's move on to um last week's game. Chiefs versus Colts. Who wants to start us off?
um,
I got a lot to
Oh,
say.
me too. Me too.
I don't.
Well, we'll let him go first then. Him and
um, it's obviously disappointing. I was really, I was really mad. I was like, this is stupid. Like there's so many mistakes. The Colts did not beat us. We beat ourselves. And I know a lot of people say that, but that's probably the biggest example of beating yourselves in the NFL. So, yeah. Also, I think that if we clean up those mistakes, we'll be fine. I think if we clean up those mistakes, we'll be fine. I think that I like 10 minutes after the game, I was over it because I knew it was just a stupid loss. We have some of those every year where we lose, but I think it'll be just fine. Not to mention the Bills and Chargers lost, so I think we'll be just fine.
Sorry, when we walked in here, we heard nothing that you just said. But until it was good. Also, hey.
Very intelligent thought, Cameron.
Hey, start muting your mic and yes.
I
Not
did.
muting your mic. No, you did not.
Because
I meant, this one. Anywho. What I have to say. I have about 4 different topics to talk about. So, I'll start with the obvious one. Chris Jones. I tweeted about it. I started in private, message chats with us three, but I will say it here.
Noah is big comfy right now.
It has to be outrageous. Outrageously offensive for that to be a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down. In what universe is yelling at somebody on a football field a personal foul? Now,
Look, as much as I would have loved to agree with that, nobody knows what he said.
You're right. Nobody knows what he said, and we'll never know what he said.
I believe what he said though. Did you guys hear? But the NFL reporter came out and said, or the referee said, he was saying things that don't belong on a football field. Chris Jones said that he thought he was just having a friendly conversation with him and didn't know what was happening. And Chris Jones actually responded to that tweet about the referee and said it wasn't true. So I mean, he doesn't normally like defend stuff like that. I'm not saying, I don't know. Just take it as you will, but
I will
think it was
say-
a weak flag.
I will say Chris Jones seems like the absolute last person who would say something across the line.
Here's my thing. I haven't competed, obviously. I have been on sidelines of high school football games for over 6 years. If I did math correctly, I don't know. A long time. There are some ugly things to say on the football field. There was no physical contact, and if you look back on it, it doesn't even look like the Colts thought it was anything bad. Like, don't
Yeah,
you
I mean,
think?
there was no defending him or
Don't,
anything.
don't you think? If it was anything outrageous, that one of the 5 or 6 Colt players around Chris Jones would be yelling at the left before the flat?
Not to mention, Matt Ryan didn't even like lunge toward him and like be like, "What'd you say to me?" or anything. They were just looking at each other, talking,
It
walking.
looked like
They were
friendly
surprised.
banter.
It looked like they were surprised when they threw the flag.
If yelling is a personal foul for every time someone yells, then every coach would be ejected in the NFL, and every player.
Anywho, aren't you talking about that all
I mean,
day?
I mean, did you see the video over the weekend? Some college football coach, I think it was like Florida State or whatever, just went off on the ref. Was
Yep.
yelling at him after like some flag, and I'm sure he got flagged, but that's way more egregious than what Chris Jones did. I mean, yeah, it's just crazy.
The year is 2022. We are in the softest generation possibly ever. There was no physical contact. It didn't even look that bad. Of course, we don't know again what he said. But unless it is like racial slur level of inappropriateness, there's no reason that alone should be personal foul.
Mhm.
I can talk about the whole game, but that's all I gotta say.
Rosebud in chat says that have refs gotten soft, the league cracking down, a bug in their ear telling them to give a flag. I think this is accurate. I don't know specifically about unnecessary roughness or whatever, but if you I mean the last few years we've seen it. There have been more flags called for soft things. I mean, last year we had the whole roughing the passer problem. People would be flagged for barely touching the quarterback.
Okay. Any more comments on that?
No.
Number 2. And this is in no particular order. Anyway. Number 2. Let's talk about the kicker situation. Matt Amendola should not kick a football ever in the National Football League.
He did fine week 2. I don't know what happened to
And
him.
I said it on last week's podcast. I'm like, I was pleasantly surprised by Matt Amendola week 2. For him to come into that situation, it's for him. But, I also said, I still don't feel confident putting the game in the hands of my kicker. The fact of the matter is, if Harrison Butker was healthy enough to play last week, then the Chiefs potentially had another 7 points on the scoreboard.
I mean, we missed, I believe, 4 points worth of.
We missed 4 points,
And it was a 3-point loss.
And the fake field goal. That you don't attempt. If, that you're not attempt if, you have Harrison Butker.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say on that. I mean, it is what it is.
I
Move
have
on.
a lot to say about that whenever it's my turn. But no, he keep going.
I mean, you can add on to it, so we don't have to come back to it later if you want.
Alright, cool. So, let's talk about the special teams. Special teams all game, horrific. Punt block, horrific. Guy dropped like 2 punts, or he dropped one, he lost one, and then the other one he didn't see it, but he just ran away from the ball. Kick return, bad. Blocking wasn't great. Isaiah Pacheco, his return sucked. He I'm pretty sure he took every kick out of the end zone, and his average return was like to the 15. He had one pretty good run. I think he got to the 30 or something, but everything else was like to the 15 or 10-yard line. He was bad all game on it. And then, obviously, kicking, Matt Amendola couldn't make a kick. But the thing that I'm most upset about that game, special teams wise, is the fake field goal attempt. I can understand not trusting Matt Amendola, but if you're not gonna kick a field goal, bring one of the best QBs in the league out.
I mean, it was 4th and 1, wasn't it?
No, it was 4th and 10, which is my biggest problem.
Well, then I'm thinking of something else. There's one spot where it was 4th and 1. I'm like, dude, you have the best quarterback in the NFL.
We had a 4th and 1 at the 1-yard line at one point, I think, and we decided to hit a field goal.
No.
Yeah.
And at the time,
I disagree with that decision too.
I definitely do. I mean, anytime you're within 5 yards of the end zone, I'm going for a 4th and 1. I mean,
Maybe,
worst case scenario, they're backed up in their end zone basically,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
the odds for a safety are pretty high. I mean, they have to go down the whole field. I'd take that any day over kicking that, especially with Matt Amendola.
I don't completely hate the idea of a fake field goal. What I hate is how we tried to pull it off. It was 4th and 10, and the only route on the play, the only one, was a 2-yard flat. 8 yards short of the first down. Even if he catches it, he still has to break a tackle just to get close to the yard marker. I mean, at least, like, if you're going to run that on 4th and 10, which I still think if you're going to go for it in that situation, have Patrick Mahomes on the field. But if you're going to do it, at least run a flood concept or something where you have that flat and then you also have Travis Kelce on, like, a 10 and out or something. Make the deep safety pick between one or the other. And if he picks Travis Kelce, you throw the flat and have him block for Blake Bell or whoever it was. I mean, the play design there has to be better. That's a fine fake field goal on a 4th and 3 or something. But 4th and 10, that there's zero chance that works. Anyway, say what you were gonna say, Noah. Sorry.
I was just gonna keep going on my next comment.
Yeah.
So if we are done with that, I will keep going.
Yeah, I'm done with my little rant.
Damon?
Yep.
Also, I should note, forgive me for all the coughing. Yeah, I have been a little sickly lately. So there you go. My next topic. Let's not forget the offense did not have a bad game. The offense played terribly for his standards. And, I believe Travis Kelce got the touchdown pass. At one point, there were other multiple shot passes that if you catch just one of them, we probably win that game. Overall, defensively, I don't really want to say the defense lost this game.
Absolutely not.
Outside of the Chris Jones incident, which I don't believe was should have been an incident anyway, but the defense was the only phase on the East that actually hit the ground yesterday, or Sunday. And so, let's not pretend this is the defense's fault. Not gonna say anybody tried to put it on the defense, but yeah, anything to say on those two comments? Anybody?
Well, I'm gonna add on to that in a second. Real quickly, Rosebud in chat say Clyde Edwards-Helaire 7 carries, 0 yards. Yeah, that was a big problem. He didn't do a great job finding holes. You can tell his vision wasn't all there last week. And also the O-line didn't really help him out that much, but that can't happen. I've been really happy with his performance in this year up to that week, so hopefully he can bounce back next week against the Bucs. When that's a game I feel like we're gonna need the run game to get going, but we'll get into that later. To add on to what Noah said, most of what I'm gonna say is pretty much already what he said, but to me, the game can be summarized into the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, the defense. I thought they played pretty good for the most part. Obviously, the last drive was a little shaky. It should have been a 4th down stop if it wasn't for that call, but after that, it was still a little shaky. But for the rest of the game, I mean, we only gave up, 17 points, right?
Yeah,
I will take that any day. We did a great job holding Jonathan Taylor. He didn't make any big plays. I think he had like 1 10-plus yard run, and that's it. So I think they did a great job. Pass defense came good. Pass rush was incredible. We had it felt like we were constantly getting pressure. I loved the play calling from Spags in that game, specifically the
There's
third down
two
blitzes.
forced fumbles from Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I think that was a brilliant game from Spags, in my opinion. A rare compliment, I'll give him, but I think he play called that game beautifully. The bad, the offense. No, already hit on it. Eric Bieniemy needs to be fired. The play calling was bad. Lots of just bad play calling. Like we are conservative when we need to be aggressive, and we are aggressive when we need to be conservative. I just don't understand it sometimes. And I still don't I really don't know. I see some people say that Andy Reid is the one calling the plays, which I'm not sure if it is, and that's an Andy Reid problem. But if it's Eric Bieniemy, then he needs to go because this has been a problem for years now. I used to be a big fan of Eric Bieniemy, but it's become evident over the last few years that he's not a great play caller, in my opinion. And him and Patrick Mahomes seem to clash heads a lot. We saw it at the end of the first half of this week's game. Eric Bieniemy just decided to run when we still had a chance to get 3, and Patrick Mahomes obviously disagreed with that decision, as well as most Chiefs fans, I would say. So yeah, offense has to be better. Lots of dropped passes from the wide receivers. The pick from Mahomes wasn't his fault, in my opinion. It was another dropped pass. It was good play defensively, but still. I thought Mahomes had an alright game, nothing too special, but nothing bad. Again, didn't get much help, so. And
Let
they also
me
have a great pass rush and great secondary. So
let me just chime in real quick. Just came out from Bleacher Report. Um, one of the Dolphins doctors said that Tua was checked for concussion symptoms every day this week.
wow, I don't believe that for a second, but you know, I one more thing, the ugly play calling, which I already hit on a little bit, and special teams, which I also hit on. Those were both problems. Fire Dave Tube. I mean, that that fake field goal attempt was horrific. That play design has to be better from him. But yeah, I'm done now.
Yep, I'm done.
Hey, I can't tell that is the most ridiculous thing I've heard in a while.
Yeah,
Dave
I don't
Jones is
agree.
the best special teams in the league. And I guarantee you that call came from Andy Reid because we
I mean,
got
he's
Matt
not the one that
Amendola
makes the
kicking.
fake plays, so.
Because
Okay,
Matt,
yeah, that was that call was a little egregious.
yeah.
I'll admit, but
But
I mean, my take to fire him was a little egregious. That's what I meant.
if you're the only anybody for calling that, it's going to be Andy Reid. He's the one that made that call. And it's because he doesn't
You make.
trust Matt Amendola.
I think Andy Reid might have made the call to go for it or to do the fake field goal, but I don't think he's the
No.
one who picked that specific play.
No. He told me if suggested it to him. At the end of the day, Andy Reid said yes or no. That's how that works.
I mean, that's how it is with the offense too, I think. I mean, you have an offensive coordinator for a reason. Andy Reid's kind of the dude
Yeah.
that says yes or no
Yeah.
ultimately to the things.
That is how it works, but yeah, Andy
I mean,
doesn't overrate the.
I definitely think he helps pick plays, but I
Right.
think a lot of the times
Andy,
Eric Bieniemy okays
yeah.
it with him, and Andy Reid
I
plays a
don't,
part and says yes when it shouldn't.
I don't even think Andy Reid, like, like, I don't think that he overrules him that much. Like, I don't think he even runs it by him that much. On
Yeah.
important plays, I think it's more like, hey, you want to run a pass? You want to go for it in front of one, or you want to, you know what I mean?
Fun.
That's mainly Andy Reid's role in the offense, I think, on game days. In the week, that's his primary, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Mhm.
But that was not what I was going to say. That was, my point, my last point was going to be what came on about Eric Bieniemy, and specifically, his relationship with Patrick Mahomes. Now, you can say he's a bad play caller, yada yada. That's up for debate. What's not up for debate is that there is very clearly not the best relationship between him and Patrick Mahomes.
Mhm.
And when it shows on the field, like it's Sunday, like it has multiple times before,
Mhm.
it makes you wonder what happens in the locker room and during the week. Like, if they're showing that kind of argumentative emotion towards each other on the field on Sunday, what's going on during the week when you're trying to plan for who do we
Well,
got next week?
I
Whoever.
kind of think that it's probably more calm during the week, honestly. I mean, I feel like the games where it gets so hectic is because like it actually matters.
And that's true,
And like,
but
I don't know. I get what you're saying.
that is true. But I mean, like, can you imagine what went on in the locker room at halftime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would look probably a lot worse. We'll never know, obviously, like the first year thing, but It just makes you wonder. Another thing is the add-on connect. I think everybody here is in agreement that I'm kind of the last one on this bandwagon. But you two have been saying fire the enemy for a while. Especially Eamon. Eamon was the first one. I've always been, my life motto is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We want to get gang Super Bowl with the guy. So obviously something was working at some point. But, think about this. Eric Bieniemy gets fired. The offensive coordinator in case of probably Matt Nagy. How do you
Which
feel about that?
I don't
don't
think
mind it.
that's not a bad.
I'm not
don't
saying
mind
that's
He
a
it.
was
bad thing at
bad as
all.
a head coach.
He's
I
not
just
for
think
a
that
he's
I agree
not
with
fit
that.
for a head coach, but
Yeah.
every other role been put in has he's succeeded in.
I agree with that. And, obviously, we don't really need to go deep into this, but Matt Nagy was the quarterback's coach when, he was the offensive coordinator, wasn't he? When
I
Patrick
don't
Mahomes,
remember. I don't think he was the OC.
either way, he was here when Mahomes got here. He has a great relationship with Mahomes. He left it in Chicago. It didn't work out. Now he's back. And I really think Mahomes is the reason why he's back. Like him and Mahomes like each other.
He's the assistant coach now, right?
He's the quarterback's coach.
No, I think he's the assistant coach. I think we have a different QB coach.
I think he's a quarterback coach.
Here, I'll look it up.
He's the quarterback coach.
While I'm looking that up, any final thoughts for the Chiefs vs. Colts game?
Mm-mm.
Our QB coach
Yeah.
is Mike Kafka.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's when he got fired.
Oh,
Anyhow,
No, I think he
no,
switched up
maybe he
to
did.
a different role.
Nope, yeah, it's Mac Nagy. Never mind.
I was gonna say, I think you're crazy, Ian.
My bad.
Yeah, final thoughts. The point was, you can cut this loss up to any one of these numerous faults that we've been yelling about for half an hour. But
Moral of the
the
story.
moral of the story is the Chiefs
Yeah.
lost. And they
And we
beat
deserve
themselves.
to lose.
The Chiefs beat themselves on Sunday.
It was
And-
exactly what I talked about on the last episode of the podcast. I stated that I was afraid that this was going to be a trap game because it feels like every game or every year the Chiefs fall into a trap game, and I think this was this year's. And everybody's freaking out. I think this was a case where a good team made a lot of bad mistakes. I think we're
Yeah.
going to be just fine. I don't think we lost this game because we're a bad team by any means. We lost this game because we shot ourselves in the foot time and time again. So as long as we can clean those mistakes up, I think we're going to be just fine.
See, and I want to clarify. I put you in way too far in this. I don't think trap game is the correct term for this. In my opinion, at least, a trap game is when a team thinks they are significantly better than the other team, and they don't prepare as hard during the week, and they come in and they look unprepared.
That's kind of what it looks like to me.
I think what it looked like to me is a normal case game, except you had Kelsey out in passes, you had miscues on special teams, you had a backup kicker that shouldn't even be kicking in the league.
Oh, you know what this game looks like to me? It looks like a Chiefs playoff game prior to the Mahomes era.
It looked like bad execution, but it did not look like they were unprepared.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I say we need to get into these game predictions. So
No, I
apologies
put the
if
link
this
in.
apologies if this episode's a little shorter. It's homecoming and
Oh yeah,
it's a
we
pretty
gotta
busy
kind of
day.
speed through this, Cameron.
Yep.
We should speak through it anyway, but yes.
All right, Vikings at Saints. I have the Vikings winning.
I have the Vikings, especially with Jameis Winston probably out.
Also,
Oh
we
yeah, I
should
saw
point
that
out
Andy Dalton is probably starting.
we should
Mhm.
point out the Haley Bengals win last night. The only
Yep.
remaining undefeated team in the NFL is the Eagles. Who would have thought?
I'm
Me.
yeah.
It being the last remaining
I
undefeated team?
I'm not surprised. The Eagles are a fantastic team, and I knew coming into the season they would be.
All I'm saying is, as soon as I got AJ Brown, I told everyone that they're gonna win their division.
All right, Noah, who do you have?
Vikings Saints. I have Vikings.
Alrighty. Browns at Falcons.
Falcons.
I have the Falcons too.
Yeah,
I
Falcons.
think the Falcons are low key kind of good. I
They're
mean, not
very
good,
underrated, I
but
think.
underrated. Yeah, I
They
agree.
played some pretty good teams at first.
All right, Bills at Ravens. This is the first game of the day for us, or game of the week, I guess. Who do you have, Cameron?
Um, I said that I have here. Let me just really quickly pull up my predictions because I already marked these all. I said the Ravens for this one because I think that the Ravens are going to come out, score a lot of touchdowns like they've been doing the previous weeks, and I think they're just gonna run away with this from the Bills. Honestly.
I expect this to be a high scoring game.
Mhm.
I agree that the Ravens are probably going to put up a good bit of points, but what worries me is their defense. I mean, as we saw against the Dolphins game a few weeks ago, their defense was horrible in the second half. I mean, to put it frankly. And I think that the Bills have I don't want to say better offense because the Dolphins have Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. They're very scary, obviously. But I think the Bills have a much more consistent quarterback. So for that reason, I think the Bills are going to take this one, but I think it will be very close.
I I have Buffalo. And all I'm gonna say is insert the Kim Dorsey meme. Um I think the energy that Buffalo is going to come out with, it's going to be very similar to what they came out with week one. They are not happy that they lost last week. And they're just going to be unstoppable. Buffalo.
Let me just
Alright.
get my props, by the way, for calling the Bills Dolphins game last week
Yep.
when everyone else thought I was crazy.
I didn't think you were crazy. I thought it was going to be a good game. But Noah thought
Anyway,
Noah
yeah, Noah.
straight up said that it was going to be a blowout.
Commanders Cowboys. I have the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
They've looked pretty good, honestly.
Cooper Rush season, man.
he's honestly probably the second best backup, I'd say, in the league.
It never in a million years is going to happen because Dak is their franchise quarterback, but Cooper Rush could legit be a starter in my opinion.
Should that be the franchise tournament?
Yes.
If
Yeah,
he keeps
Cowboys.
playing the way that he played in week 1, no, but assuming he doesn't, then yes.
Cowboys.
Seahawks at
Alright.
Lions. I think the Lions are going to win this one pretty convincingly.
Yeah,
I
Lions.
agree. I put up the Lions, and like I said, the Seahawks are not winning another game this year.
Lions.
The Lions have looked great through the first few weeks. Only have a
Yeah,
record of 1 and
they've had
2,
some
but
really tough opponents,
they've
but
fought in every game.
every game's been really close.
Chargers.
Chargers.
Yep, I have the Chargers.
This one's weird. The Chargers looked horrible last week.
With a
They
hurt,
did. Justin Herbert.
And the Texans honestly don't look horrible, in my opinion. But I'm still going to pick the Chargers. Is
They don't
Justin
look
Herbert
horrible, but
good
I think they're.
to go this week?
I think so. I think they're 1 year away from a good squad that can actually do stuff for them.
I don't know. This year's weird. Like, there's not a team that I feel like is the laughing stock of the NFL. Like,
Yeah,
the
I mean
last
they're
few
all pretty
years,
good,
the
except maybe
last
the
few
Raiders.
years, the last few years, we've had some horrible teams. But I feel like every team has a chance to compete in most games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Alright, keep going.
All right,
Titans, Colts,
Titans.
Colts.
Actually, yeah, Colts. They looked good last
Bears,
week.
Giants.
Giants.
Giants. The Bears are 2-1.
somehow.
Yep.
Who was the other team they beat?
They lost to the Packers.
And
They
they
played last week.
beat.
It beat the
San
Niners
Fran
in.
and
I can't remember.
okay, we'll move on.
Well,
Sorry,
I
I have it
put
right
their
here.
name
The
in.
Bears. The Bears last week played. Gosh, why won't it load? Just go ahead. What's the next one?
Jaguars at
Eagles.
Eagles.
I have Eagles.
Jags again, a team that should be bad but isn't.
Yep.
No,
Wait,
Eagles.
you think?
Okay,
Wait,
I
who
don't.
should be
Maybe
bad?
not.
The Eagles?
No, the Jags.
Oh, okay.
And not should be bad. Might be a little strong, but they shouldn't be as good as they've been playing. Is what I.
It
Mhm.
won't be close.
I think they're
But
good. I
I
think
have
it'll be a wild
Eagles.
card team.
Yeah, it's possible. Sort of like that team that made it to the championship game a few years ago, the NFC or AFC.
The Bears beat the Texans by 3 last week.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Texans. Okay.
Also, really quickly, our from last night, our predictions. I said the Bengals. I don't know what you guys said.
No, I
Um,
said Bengals. I think.
Alright.
Jets Steelers. I have Steelers.
Jets.
Um,
Jets. Jets. I think
Very
Zach
bold.
Wilson's is coming back this week,
He is.
so maybe I should pick the Steelers. No, I'm going Jets.
Wait, is that Wilson coming back this week?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that
Probably.
makes it really easy. Steelers. If Joe Flacco's playing Jets, if he's not playing
Wow.
Steelers.
That Zach Wilson hate is criminal.
What did I tell you though? Joe Flacco went off.
They're 1-2. He did not go off.
You think
Cardinals
He
at
got
Panthers.
destroyed by the Ravens.
You think Zach Wilson is only 1 and 2? I don't think so.
He
I definitely do.
he is the guy.
He might
is
be
him.
going 2-1
He is him.
or 3-0.
They're not losing a game this season with the Cougar Killer on their team.
Anyway,
Okay.
Cardinals Panthers.
Guys,
Cards.
Cards. Panthers are not good.
uh,
Packers Patriots.
Packers. Packers have looked
Yeah.
great the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Packers.
I'm gonna go
Somehow.
Packers.
Oh, do we not have the thing up on the stream?
What?
The link?
Oh.
Anyway, what were you saying?
What were you saying, Noah?
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh.
You went
well,
how, and then
Oh, I didn't say that, didn't I? Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting this on the screen. How is Aaron Rodgers turning a team with... Let me see here. Was I? How are they 2-1?
their defense, and it's Aaron Rodgers. Like,
and Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon.
I might be able to get 50 yards a game with Aaron Rodgers. This is my QB. I mean, all right. Anyway,
Broncos
at Raiders.
One
Second
of our
game of the week.
I'm taking. I don't know, man. The Raiders. I don't know what to think about them. I still think they're a good team, but I'm just gonna have to take.
I don't know
the
what's
Broncos,
happening with them.
I think. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to take the Broncos. I don't
know.
I don't even have a really good reason, but the Raiders I don't have a lot of faith in them.
This is a weird matchup for me. Obviously, the Raiders are 0-3, but are probably much better than their record shows. Who did they lose to last week? Does anyone remember? Wasn't it
Titans, right?
Titan?
That was like week 1.
No, it was not. It was last week.
Was it?
Week 1.
Yeah, it was.
They played.
But yeah, and the Broncos are 2-1, but they haven't looked particularly good.
No, they definitely
either.
haven't. Yeah.
And, like, Russell Wilson, in my opinion, has been very disappointing. He's been extremely average for them to start the year.
Not a $250 million.
And a lot of that's, well, I feel like a lot of that's their play calling. I think they haven't been really setting him up for much success with their play calling. But I think this is the week that the Raiders finally get into the win column. And in Las Vegas at their home, I think Sam Webb gets the game-sealing pick six. I'm picking the Raiders.
He does, I do want to mention, he has been on the field.
Yeah,
He
quite a
has
bit.
an official...
Has he?
Quite a bit.
Let's go, Sam!
I guarantee you it's because you're looking for answers right now. Look. Good for him. Where are we at? East Bucs?
Oh, you
What
still
was your
need to go over
prediction?
your
Yeah.
pick, yeah.
Oh, I thought it said not this.
Well,
Not this.
explain it a little bit.
Is this an game of the week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I honestly just don't think Vegas is good.
Fair.
Denver hasn't been a quarterback even though he hasn't been playing that well. Yeah. Denver.
Rosebud in chat says Derek Carr is trash and needs to leave.
Yes.
I
I think Derek Carr is very
have to
underrated.
disagree with
Yeah,
that. I
I
think he's
disagree.
underrated. He has
He's a
some
good
absolute.
He is a really good
He has some
quarterback.
absolute stinker games every once in a while, but he also has some brilliant. I mean, you remember last week for the first 3 weeks of the year, there was an MVP campaign for him. He went off for the first little beginning of the year last year. I don't think he's great, but I don't think he's bad enough for him to get benched.
I think he's top 15.
Yeah, I think he's like a middle of the line quarterback in the NFL.
I think Kirk Cousins equals Derek Carr.
I think Derek
Carr is a little over. I do think Russell Wilson is a little overrated, but I don't think Derek Carr is. All right. Moving on. Chiefs
Bucs.
at Bucs.
We'll get in that here soon.
Chiefs.
I assume we're all saying Chiefs.
Yeah.
We're all gonna say Chiefs the whole
No
entire
matter
year,
what.
guaranteed. So
Oh,
Noah
God.
might not because he might get kicked off the podcast if he doesn't. But anyway, Rams Niners, our last game of the week.
Hang on, I just want to make something very clear. Like we're going to say what we actually think. There is no bias here.
And what we think is that the Chiefs are going to win because we are extremely biased,
I mean,
and this is a biased podcast.
There's just, yeah, I think we're gonna lose, man.
Well,
I don't think we're winning.
I just want to make sure that we're going to say what we think's going to happen. If we think we're going to lose, we're going to say that. I'm not saying what you think we're going to lose. I have been winning this game. But if I think they're going to lose, I'm going to say they're going to lose. That's not here.
Real quickly, Rosebud in chat said that top 15 quarterbacks isn't going to win championships. To that, I say Tom Brady won 7.
Like, he was also... he was top 2, if not top 1. At those times.
Gotta ruin it. Gotta
top
ruin
15
the
quarterback
joke.
isn't going to win champions. How about Nick Foles?
True.
Uh-huh.
Although he might have been the best QB of all time in that Super Bowl, no cap. All right. I still obviously I was trolling with that, but I do think that if they're on a good enough team, a top 15 QB is very capable of leading a team to
I mean, heck, Kirk Cousins has led the team to the playoffs multiple times.
It depends on what kind of top 15 quarterback they are. If they're a manager like Alex Smith, yeah.
Yeah.
If they got all the talent in the world but make stupid decisions, no.
Well, we really got to get going because I think Kane you have to leave at 1:30, right?
Uh-huh. So, Rams at 49ers, final game of the week.
I got the Rams.
Sorry. Wait, Kendra sent us.
Anyway, I think the Rams, I think it's going to be a close one. I think the 49ers could win. I'm not going to be surprised if they do. But I think Cooper Kupp is going to go off once again. I think he's going to have a great game. I think Cam Akers is going to have a good game as we saw him starting to heat up last week. And I think the Rams are going to run away with it.
I think the Rams are going to win this game too. I think the 49ers QB situation is just too weak. Obviously, Trey Lance is out for the season, but both of them I think are just not fit to lead a team to the Super Bowl, like we just talked about. But Trey Lance is just too young and inexperienced. I think Jimmy G is just.
Hey, Jimmy G led them to the Super Bowl.
They did, but last week he looked horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, it's his first week,
That's
shaking off the rust, you know.
so, but I
Do
Um,
what?
hang on
think
again.
the Rams.
Hang on again. Hold on again.
I think it'll be close because these two teams always seem to have close games, but I think the Winds are gonna win.
Okay, Noah.
um, I have the Rams. It won't be close. But Miami is gonna Miami late in the game, and the Rams will win. I will say, I mean this kind of like Joe Flacco in New York. I would prefer Miami over Trey Lance. Sorry, not sorry.
As of now, I agree with that.
I agree with that right
Just
now
because
too.
Trey Lance is too inexperienced.
Okay, there's our game predictions for this coming week.
All right, time to go in depth.
On to the breakdown. Here we go.
Sunday night football, Chiefs versus Bucs, big game. Who wants to start us off? Let's
Prime
start with the
time.
keys to victory. Cameron, you want to go first?
The keys to victory this game: Chiefs versus Bucks. To me, number one, pressure, pressure, pressure. Tom Brady is a quarterback that can make anything happen, as we know from the past decade. I don't know. He, we need to get pressure, make him uncomfortable, and make him throw balls he does not want to throw, or get sacked. Number two, I think that we have to get open. I mean, that sounds stupid because obviously we have to get open, but not only do we have to get open as our receivers, we have to catch the ball like we couldn't do last week. We need to create space for everyone to get some catches, and we need to play this game as a team or else we're going to lose. Um Number 3, um let me just say this again. Make our kicks. Harrison Butker will be back, but
Maybe not.
still, I heard that he is. But still, we need to. He's at least practiced, I know, this week.
Mhm.
But we need to make those kicks. Those are brutal to us.
Yeah. I'll do mine. The first key to victory is don't let Mike Evans take over the game, especially with Chris Godwin. I think he's questionable. I don't think he's out for sure. But even if he is in, he'll probably have limited touches because they're going to try to ease his way back into the game
Yeah.
because he's been out for weeks. So if Chris Godwin is out, Mike Evans is going to be Tom Brady's guy. He's going to be his only really good receiver. So just don't let him take over the game. Jerry Sneed needs to have clamps on him, and I think we should be fine. Offensively, I think we need to establish a run game. First 2 weeks, we did a great job of it, and our offense looked good. Last week, we did a bad job of it, and it led to the pass game being weak last week.
Yeah.
So it's a big, big part. Third key to victory: special teams needs to be better. So many people underestimate the importance of special teams. If anybody thinks special teams is not important, go back and rewatch that game because special teams lost us the game last week, in my opinion. There were a lot of things that cost us, but number one was special teams. So
Yep.
as long as we can fix that, sorry, as long as we can fix that, I think we should be fine.
Noah.
I'll reiterate what everybody else said. Special teams. I'm not gonna go in depth with it. Special teams. Um, I do want to point out Answer and run defense with that last week, right?
No, a run game, like running the ball.
Oh, I run game. My bad. I was gonna say that our defense was good last week. Wait,
Yeah.
Yeah. I run defense, or I run offense, right? Better. Um, might he offensively? I'm gonna say Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy have to be on the same page.
Yep.
I don't know what they have to do. They have to figure it out because
I agree with that 100%.
if the case offense is putting up points like they have been with all the disagreements they're having, imagine what they can do when they're on the same page.
Mhm.
Um,
They can win a Super Bowl, as we've seen.
defensively, um, it's simple. You cannot get Tom Brady. You just cannot. Um,
Even when he's not on his best game, Tom Brady just has such good control of the game. He
Yep.
really is like a game manager. Like,
he, and everybody labels game manager as a bad term. That's not a bad
no.
term. That's really not a bad term. You can be a game manager and not be your quarterback, but you can also be a game manager and be a great quarterback. Alex Smith. Um, but yeah, just you're not like Tom Brady to again.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to important things to know before the game, or other things to know. Harrison Butker and MVS were limited on practice Wednesday. MVS did practice today. Harrison Butker, I believe, was not on the field at the beginning of practice, but he might have came on later in the practice. The Chiefs signed Matthew Wright as insurance. He was a former Jaguars kicker, I believe, right?
Yep. I
So
think.
if Harrison Butker is not able to play this week, Harrison Wright will be the guy for us.
Hey, I think personally, I think Justin Reed should be the guy. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, honestly, I don't mind, but I think Matthew Wright has had a pretty solid track record. I think I'm
well,
not for
that's
sure.
good then.
Chris Jones, Mecole Hardman, Mike Dana, and Ronald Jones also did not practice on Wednesday. Chris Jones was believed to have just a day off, but the other ones were not quite sure with why they were out. I believe Mecole Hardman has an ankle injury, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then other things is
Mike
that
Dana, he was out last week, so.
the NFL confirmed yesterday that the game will still be played in Tampa Bay, even with the recent hurricane. Prayers to everybody involved. But I think that's going to give a massive advantage to Tampa Bay. Like, not only do they have home field advantage, but this is going to sound really dumb. But they have hurricane advantage. Like, people are going to rally together. I mean, you remember, well, you don't remember, you weren't alive, but in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina hit, didn't the Saints win the Super Bowl that year?
No.
I thought they did.
But they did win their first game back in the Super Bowl,
Oh,
and there was no way they were losing that game.
yeah. I mean, yeah, like everybody, like it's a big thing. It's
Yeah, 2005, the Patriots won against the
that's my
Eagles.
bad. Well, still, I still think that this will give them a big advantage in a weird way. It sounds really weird. It sounds like some superstitious, like the
Yeah.
NFL is gonna rig it thing. But I truly do feel like it'll have a big impact.
All right. Well, I say we should get into the score predictions.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go Chiefs 31 to 28.
30-24.
What'd you say?
30-24.
Okay, I think it's gonna be a 24 to 21 game. The Bucs offense hasn't looked very good at all this year. The Chiefs offense hasn't looked great the last few weeks, so I'm curious to see if they're able to bounce back or if this will be sort of a low-scoring game. I think that it should be a low-scoring game, but with these two teams, you know, you never know. But that is going to do it for this week's podcast because we got to go. Normally, we will go much more in depth about this week's game, which we're sorry about that, but we're running out of time, so we'll see you next week.
I just
guys.
changed out. He turned off the camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, bye.